I'll tell you later. I already thought about that about 15 years ago.
Don't forget, well, you know, we have,
Nominated. Hey, go read the language. The next person nominated, it doesn't work.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Madison Heights City Council, welcome this evening to our council meeting that I would now like to call to order. Friends, if you call the roll, please.
Councilman Bliss.
Here.
Councilman Clark.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Corbett.
Here.
Councilman Gettings.
Here.
Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
And Mayor Swanson.
Call the meeting to order. Thank you very much. The invocation this evening is going to be given by myself, so I'd ask that you please rise, and we're going to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, establish thy rule in the hearts and minds of men of nations everywhere. Dispose our days in peace, and take from us all hatred and prejudice, and whatever may hinder unity of spirit and concord. Let the blessings be upon the commerce and industry, the leisure and rest, and the arts and the culture of our people. Bless our coming together in this hour, and indeed help us to strive towards deeper friendships and greater services to our community. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is presentations, and we have two this evening. Certificate of Appreciation to Home Depot, the Senior Center Improvement Project, and number two is going to be a Certificate of Appreciation to the volunteers and staff of the Senior Center Improvement Contest. Yes, sir.
I'd like to read the certificate.
Please.
Whereas the Madison Heights Home Depot and the Home Depot Foundation were instrumental in helping the Madison Heights Senior Center receive a much-needed and well-deserved cosmetic update. And whereas for the past 2 years, Joe Frantangelo has worked with city staff as the main liaison for the Senior Center facelift project, helping determine the job scope, determining a breakdown of all the needs, and he provided assistance with the grant application and filing, helped with the purchase of supplies, and made sure the plan reached completion. And whereas Joe stayed in communication with the Senior Center staff during the entire length of the project, including providing his private cell phone and answering any questions even on his days off. And whereas Alana Hart of the Home Depot Foundation worked with Joe to finalize the project scope, assisted with the grant application, helped plan the work date, and was on site for the job setup and during the completion of the project to ensure that everything ran smoothly. And whereas the volunteer services provided by Joe Frantangelo of the city of the Madison Heights Home Depot and Alana Hart of the Home Depot Foundation have greatly assisted the city in keeping our senior center updated and beautiful, and both have had a demonstrable positive impact on our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council extend heartfelt thanks to Home Depot employees Joe Frantangelo and Alana Hart for providing these great services, and extend this certificate as a symbol of our appreciation for their civic-minded contributions to the city of Madison Heights. And I understand their assistant store manager, Greg Van Hagen, is here tonight.
Is there somebody else here with you, or? Just you.
One for each of them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I certainly appreciate it.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's okay. Thanks for
Yes.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah.
And now, Your Honor and Counsel, the second certificate of appreciation. Whereas volunteers were instrumental in helping the Madison Heights Senior Center receive a much-needed and well-deserved cosmetic update, and whereas volunteer and senior advisory board member Aaron Pruitt envisioned the project, made weekly phone calls to Home Depot representatives, and followed through on the planning, coordinated volunteers and monies for the painting portion of the project, cleaned out landscaping and reestablished new garden beds, created 16 new pieces of artwork for the center, and helped repurpose many pieces of furniture. And whereas Tim Pruitt worked with his wife, Erin, to cut back many overgrown trees and bushes around the senior center, pulled out old plantings, helped replant the gardens, and donated his time to install new lighting and a ceiling fan in the front room of the senior center. And whereas Senior Center staff Jennifer Cowan, Carrie Durkin, Jerry Easton, and John Lufkin assisted in the project by repurposing many pieces of furniture, by reupholstering, repainting, and decorating numerous chairs and tables, and helped with the painting of the inside of the Senior Center. And whereas the volunteer services provided by these individuals have greatly assisted the city in keeping our senior center updated and beautiful, and all have had a demonstrable positive impact on our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council extend heartfelt thanks to Erin and Tim Pruitt and Senior Center staff Jennifer Cowan, Carrie Durkin, Jerry Easton, and John Lufkin for providing these great services, and extend this certificate as a symbol of our appreciation for their civic-minded contributions to the City of Madison Heights.
Good.
Erin, did we miss anyone?
Oh, Rich, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot, yeah. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
How you
Hi,
doing?
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I already shook your hand.
Thank you very much.
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Richard, this goes to you. Oh, we spelled your name wrong, but okay. No, thank you.
I just spelled Clark wrong.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very, very much, folks. That's fantastic what you did for the senior center. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, additions or deletions. And we do have 2 additions. Under reports, D2, City Bargaining Team Tentative Agreement with the Supervisors and Assistants Union. And D3 will be added under reports also. It's a City Bargaining Term Tentative Agreement with the Department Heads Union. So could I have a motion for D2, please?
Your Honor.
Mr. Corbett?
Sir, I move that that we add number 3 under reports, pardon me, number 2 under reports, the department heads AFSCME agreement as recommended.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
You wanted it under reports, right?
Right, under reports, yeah.
Yeah.
Second discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, D3. We need an approval on that. If we could have a motion, please.
Your Honor.
Mr. Corbett?
Sir, I move to bring, to add to the agenda under reports number 3, the supervisors contract, AFSCME, represented by the AFSCME local.
Thank you. Second?
Your Honor.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Moving along, we're going to go to business licenses initial. We have 3, and we have 1 business license. This is temporary and seasonal. Under business licenses initial, we have number 1, 696 Master Collision, and it's an auto body shop at 1031 East 10 Mile Road. Number 2 is Troy Mobility and Rehab, a physical therapy business at 125 DeQuinder Road. And number 3 is a Lucky 9 Nail Supply. It's a nail and beauty supply shop at 30671 DeQuinder. And under temporary and seasonal, we have a Poma Tree Farm. It's a Christmas tree lot at 246 East 11 Mile. All applicants have met the requirements of the city, so what would the wish of council be on this, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to approve business license initial number 1, 696 Master Collision, an auto body shop, and that is a change of ownership. Number 2, Troy Mobility and Rehab, a physical therapy business. That is a new business to the city. Number 3, Lucky 9 Nail Supply, a nail and beauty supply shop, which is also a new business. And under the temporary and seasonal, Poma Tree Farm, a Christmas tree lot.
Second?
Second,
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Okay. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Business licenses, non-commercial, we have nothing scheduled for this evening. Likewise, public hearing is nothing is scheduled. Reports on agenda of interest to parties in the audience. Is there anything on the agenda this evening anybody wants brought forward at this time? If not, then let's go meeting open to the public. Anybody wishing to address council, please feel free to do so. We would ask that you step to the podium, give us your name and address if you would, and then speak your piece. So, anybody wish to address council? Yes, sir, please. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Robert Redden. I live at 27724 Alger Lane. And I was wondering if there's a program for tree trimming.
Oh,
Trees are pretty old on the block, and when it's fairly windy, it looks like a war zone over there.
yeah. We could ask Mr. Vitale, could you help him on the tree trimming or answer his question?
Sir, Your Honor, you're speaking to a tree that's in the city right-of-way?
Yeah.
A street tree? Yeah, we do have a program.
We knew you were going to ask that question. We brought him in for that.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
the city does have a tree trimming program. It's usually broken out between about 10 districts, so about every 10 years we would be in your neighborhood. But that doesn't discount the fact that if we get a call from a resident that, an area of trees needs some trimming, we would move over to that area and address that. So you've given your address to the city manager. I will follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, we typically prioritize the trees to those that are a public safety hazard or severely diseased, so we try to take them in order, but we'll certainly look into it, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else wish to address council? If not, then let's move to item C, communication. And first communication is the Department of Public Service Director, 2015-16 Road Commission for Oakland County Winter Maintenance Agreement.
Yes, Your Honor, the Road Commission for Oakland County has provided the agreement for the city to provide winter maintenance on 14 Mile from Campbell to DeQuinder, John R. from 14 Mile to the Red Run Drain, and 12 Mile from DeQuinder to Campbell. The total amount of the contract is $36,748, and this represents a 10% increase that we'll be getting this year. Staff and I recommend that council approve the contract and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Thank you, sir. Can I have a motion on this, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark?
I'd make a motion to approve the contract and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Scott?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Communications, number 2, Department of Public Service Director. This is the 2015-16 Macomb County Road Commission Winter Maintenance Agreement.
The Macomb County Road Commission has provided their agreement for the city to provide winter maintenance on all lanes of DeQuinder from 10 Mile to 14 Mile. The total cost of this contract, or total benefit that the city would receive, is $23,610. Mr. Vitale requested, and the Macomb County Commission agreed to provide a 10% increase from last year. Staff and I recommend that City Council approve the contract and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Have a motion on this, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott?
I recommend that the city council approve the contract and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city for the 2015 through 16 Macomb County Road Commission Winter Maintenance Agreement.
Thank you. Second?
Your Honor,
Mr. Corbett?
support, sir.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda is reports. And the first report is a city manager I-75 modernization project resolution.
Yes, Your Honor. With your and council's permission, I would like to read the resolution tonight. This is a resolution in opposition to the I-75 widening project funding methodology and also in support of Senate Bill 557. Whereas the Michigan Department of Transportation, or MDOT, proposes to widen and improve I-75 from Hazel Park to Auburn Hills, and whereas this project has been in some phase of study and analysis since 2000, and whereas MDOT has publicly denoted the construction phases since February 18, 2014, with the Madison Heights phases scheduled for 2020, 2022, and 2024. And whereas MDOT unilaterally, without discussion or notice, changed the proposed construction phasing in the summer of 2015 such that the Madison Heights phases are now proposed to be in 2018, 2024, and 2026. And whereas MDOT proposes to utilize the Public Act 51 road funding formula to require that Madison Heights pay an estimated local share of $4,025,000 for all three phases, and that would be $800,000 in 2018, $425,000 in 2024, and $2.8 million in 2026. And whereas this local match would essentially eliminate the city's ability to provide road maintenance and reconstruction for more than 3 years. And whereas the city has repeatedly voiced opposition to MDOT's proposed change to the project phasing, as well as the use of the Act 51 funding formula for road projects with regional, national, and even international significance and impact. And whereas the city has cited the lack of any public or municipal notice or opportunity for input regarding the change in project phasing, the extensive and widespread impact on the city's road network during construction with no compensation by MDOT, the recent I-75 service drive improvements made by the city, which were based in major part on their prior project schedule, and the complete loss of future tax revenue from the 25 total property takings and 5 partial property takings. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Madison Heights strongly objects to MDOT's planned advancement of the I-696, I-75 grade phase of construction from the original 2020 to 2018. Be it further resolved, Council strongly supports Michigan Senate Bill 557, introduced by Senator Nolenberg, which would eliminate Act 51 requirements for local share contributions on this and other MDOT trunk line projects. Be it further resolved that the city requests that MDOT honor its previous construction segment phasing. Be it finally resolved that the city clerk provide a copy of this resolution to U.S. Senator Stabenow Allen Peters, U.S. Representative Levin, Governor Snyder, State Representative Townsend, State Senator Nolenberg, State Senator Gregory, State Senator and Transportation Committee Chairman Casperson, the cities of Royal Oak, Hazel Park, Troy, and Auburn Hills, and Bloomfield Township, the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, and the Michigan Municipal League. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. What's the wish of council on this, please?
Your Honor.
Mr. Corbett.
Sir, I move adoption of the resolution as printed.
I didn't hear, what'd you say?
I said I move adoption of the resolution as printed.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Gettings?
second.
Discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Corbett.
I've been increasingly more vocal on this over the last year or so. And I think what's happened is we've been talking about this project now for 15 years. And I believe we were asked to take a position on it 7 or 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And we were in support. But it's a much different world than it was then. And I think the pressure to continue with this project, at least at the same pace and the same scope, isn't there as it was at one time. And just so we're clear on this, my comments this evening in this resolution is tailored to specifically the issue of financing it. I've said it almost as a joke a few times to the other members of council, but it was true. The first time I heard the expression community contribution, did I say that right, Ben? Yeah, community contribution. I thought that meant that when the state was going to do work on an expressway in your town, that meant we were going to get money because of the disruption to our business and our traffic, it didn't remotely occur to me that for the privilege of having the work done in our town, we would be spending money. We would be being compelled to pay out. And this is not a small amount of money. The first amount scheduled at the moment, and it's still in flux, is $800,000 within the next 3 years. Over the course of the next 10 years, 11 years, it could be as much as, well, that doesn't include us, our portion, 800. And how much is actually going to be in 2024, Ben? I don't want to misstate this. Currently, it's scheduled for an additional,
The second phase is 425,000, and then the final phase is the lion's share, 2.8 million.
yeah. And for those of us who are still able to count that high, that's over $4 million coming out of our budget, coming from our citizens, for the privilege of having this work done in our town. And I mean, we can talk about the necessity of the project to economic development and growth of the area. But this ties into an issue that we've been talking about the last few weeks, and then I'll sum up, Your Honor. In the course of the election, it's been a pretty quiet election around here over the past month or two, but there's been some discussion about what are we going to do with all the new money coming into the city. You know, that the property taxes are going up, or pardon me, property values are going up, therefore that means the city's going to get a lot of money, and what are we going to do with all of that? Well, first of all, we're not going to be getting all of that money due to the Headley Amendment. We get a fractional portion of that, and that portion, by the way, is smaller all the time. When you hear on TV, the good news for the individual homeowner, you know, inflation, the CPI is 1%, 1.5%, but that's also the amount of revenue coming into the city by way of increases. So, number one. And number two, any money that we do get, this, you know, I can tell you where part of it's going right now. I mean, either that or we're going to have to bond for it. We're going to have to borrow for it. And I mean, nobody wants to say it out loud, but that's what we're going to end up doing at some point. Because there's just no way that we can go into our budget for $4 million. We ain't got it. If I had $4 million, I would be hiring firemen and policemen and doing some other things the community requires. So anyway, there's a lot of inside baseball stuff here about changing deadlines and you know, what we knew and what we didn't know. I don't believe the state has been entirely forthcoming on this project. They've been kind of bringing out bits and pieces of this. It came quite of a shock that our first payment due was going to be 2 years earlier than what it was. So I support the resolution. I hope that Senators Gregory and who's the principal sponsor? Nolenberg. Senator Nolenberg are able to make some headway on it. At least raise this issue to discussion in Lansing, that I don't know where the individual communities and municipalities are supposed to come up with necessarily all this money, while surrounding communities that will certainly be gaining benefit from it are not being charged, those that are not adjacent to the road work. So, thank you, Your Honor. I hope the council will support the motion.
Any other comments or questions? If not, we do have a motion for approval on the project resolution by Councilman Corbett, a second by Councilman Gettings. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, reports D2. We're going to go back to approval of the agenda. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. For staff and I would recommend the council approve the tentative agreement with the Department Heads Union, AFSCME Council 25.
Thank you, sir. Can we have a motion on that, please?
Your Honor?
Mr. Corbett?
I'm sorry, page flipped on me here. I moved that the council concur with the recommendation of staff and approve the supervisors. Nope. No, I did it again.
Your Honor, the department heads were added first, right?
Department heads contract that we negotiated with the AFSCME council.
Okay, second?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Clark. Was it Clark or?
Second?
Yes. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the next one, can we need a motion on number 3?
Yes, Your Honor. This would be the agreement with the Supervisors and Assistants Union, AFSCME Council 25, and staff and I would recommend approval, please.
Thank you, sir. Motion,
Your Honor,
Mr. Corbett.
I'll try to get it right the first time here. I move that council concur with the recommendation of staff and approve the contract with the supervisors
Okay.
union, who were represented by the ASME council.
Thank you. Second,
Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Scott.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Items for future public hearing on item E on the agenda. Nothing is scheduled for this evening. We do have a bid awards purchase, and number one is the 2015-16 Community Development Block Grant Home Chore Removal Program.
Yes, Your Honor. Staff and I recommend that council award the bid for Community Development Block Grant Home Chore Snow Removal to the lowest responsible bidder, Gratiot Landscaping, at the unit cost of $22 per lot per snowfall. I would note that this award has no impact on our work done by our DPS Streets and Facilities Division, and CDBG funds are budgeted and available for this bid award.
What's the wish of council on this, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to award the bid for Community Development Block Grant Home Chore Snow Removal to the lowest responsible bidder, Gratiot Landscaping, at the unit cost of $22 per lot per snowfall.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Your Honor.
Mr. Bliss?
Support.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Do the folks get the vouchers like they used to for the lawn cutting?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Myers.
any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item, G, ordinances. Nothing is scheduled for this evening. Item H, unfinished business. We have nothing. We need approval of the minutes of the last regular city council meeting, October 12th, 2015, if we could, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes for October 12th, 2015 as printed.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Your Honor,
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Clark or Mr. Corbett?
support.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on, appointments. We have the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, Downtown Development Authority. We have no applicants for that. Charter Amendment Ordinance Revision, we have no applicants. We do have Community Development Block Grant Review Committee. It's a 3-year term. Martha Kehoe is willing to participate. I think she belongs on that now. 3-year term, it would go from November 1st, 2015 to November 1st, 2018. Can I have a motion on this, please?
Your Honor.
Oh, wait a minute, let's move to an alternate.
Yes, the part of the application is that she would move her status from alternate to member because we do have vacancy.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move to appoint Mrs. Kehoe to the regular position,
Okay.
which will be expiring November the 1st, 2018.
Yes, sir. Second,
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Gettings.
Yes, sir.
Discussion?
Support.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Construction Board of Appeals, no applicants. Crime Commission, we have none.
What was the one, Your Honor?
Do we have?
What was the one I passed on last?
I think it's Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Yes.
Okay?
I don't know the gentleman. If you're willing to make the nomination, what is his name again?
Yes, Your
Jeremy?
Honor. His name is Jeremy Haggard, and he applied on September 24th.
If it's agreeable with you, sir, I'd move to confirm your nomination of the gentleman for a full term on the...
Definitely.
Parks and Rec.
Second?
Well, actually, I got to watch what I just said. He'd be the alternate term, which will expire, why don't we give him the longer one, April 15th, 17.
2017. Second on that?
Your Honor.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Bliss?
I support.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Tax Board of Review, we have nobody. Zoning Board of Appeals, we have nobody. Item I, executive session, nothing is scheduled for this evening. So we're going to go into closing comments from council. And I did have a question to Mr. Myers on the the compensation commission. We need 9 or 10 applicants.
I believe, Your Honor, I think you have one vacancy now.
Oh, just one left?
the other way.
Okay.
On the compensation
On the
commission?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we're good on that then.
And that group has to meet this calendar year.
Right, okay. Okay. Closing comments, let's start with the Mayor Pro Tem Corbett, sir, if you will.
Just a couple of quick items this evening, sir. Just a reminder, Fridays at 1, we are at the library. If you have questions, concerns, comments, ideas, suggestions, please come visit. We're there from 1 to 3. If I know you're coming with complaints, I'll be sure to have the mayor there for you. But if it's compliments, I'll be there. But it's 1 to 3 in the library. Just come in and we're right across from the main desk there. Just a reminder, we do have an election coming up a week from now on Tuesday. The polls, as I'm sure you will hear again later, are open from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. Come early, come often. And
Only once.
Only once. Oh, you're going to be like that, aren't you? And come out. The consul race may not be exciting, but the mayor's race is contested, so you might want to have your say on that.
Right.
Just a quick comment this evening. I'm completing my 4th term on the consul, and I was thinking earlier as I looked around, there is a certain amount of comfort when you've been here for a little while to look around. There are still 3 other faces at the table from the first night that I made it here, Mrs. Scott, Mr. Clark, and the mayor. And I want to just thank them and the newer members who have come and gone. One of them has come and gone and come back. And the newer ones, I really think that this is a unique community. I say that everywhere I go. We have, good Lord knows we have our arguments, but we come back the next week, and there's something unique about our town, and it's made it interesting, and it's made it a real pleasure, and made it something I've wanted to contribute to for the last 40 or 50 years that I've been here. So. Old enough to do something. So thank you very much. I look forward to the next term, and just thank everybody for everything. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Councilman Bliss, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. 2 quick things. The first, I had the opportunity to take my daughter to the library book sale. She's an avid reader, like her dad, and we had a great time. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of the volunteers who helped put it on. The Friends of the Library put it on as they do every year, and they did a phenomenal job. All the books were well sorted. Frankly, everybody had a smile on their face, which is tough to do when it's pretty early on a Saturday, So it was a wonderful experience. My daughter bought about 20 books. So we've now read all of them in the week and a couple of days since then, but it was a great time. I know they're going to do it again next year. I think they've already started taking donations. So if you have any books that you're looking to donate, you could donate. Just come into the library and they can give you some more information. The second thing that I have kind of ties into that. As a city, we want to be very welcoming to the families in our community and those even thinking about coming into our community. And I think the place that it starts has to be City Hall. And so I would like to ask staff to look into and hopefully accomplish putting in a family restroom into City Hall, repurposing one of the restrooms we currently have to give that family restroom designation. We've got a couple that are very large that would accommodate I guess the specifics for a family restroom, but that would allow a little bit more comfort for parents taking their children to City Hall, and I think it'd be a very noteworthy thing for us to do, as a signal that we are absolutely open and focused on young families in our community, but also as a convenience to those families that are bringing their children up to City Hall, whether it's for the tree lighting that we're about to have, or if they're just here to pay a water bill, having a place that would be simple for them to take their children into the restroom would be a wonderful thing. It shouldn't be costly at all. It should be easy to do.
Your Honor, we have two restrooms in City Hall on two different floors that I think can accommodate that without an expensive retrofit, so you're just looking at signage and probably a changing station.
Yep,
So.
that's it.
Yeah, good.
That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gettings?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope I don't act in bad taste, but I couldn't go without acknowledging someone near and dear to me for many years. It's my mother's 100th anniversary, or birthday today, excuse me. She was born in Minnesota in 1915 on October 26th, and she used to work at the senior center, and she was a great lady. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, yeah, thank you. Mr. Sherman, sir?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Myers?
Just that I want to thank the employees and the department heads and the supervisors and assistants bargaining units for working with the city toward their new agreement. That's all, Your Honor.
Ms. Friend?
Yes, thank you. The deadline for applying for an absentee ballot by mail is Saturday, October 31st. The city clerk's office will be open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on that day for election business only. The city general election is on Tuesday, November 3rd. Precinct 5 is located at the Madison Elementary School, and Precinct 2 is located at Keys Grace Academy, the former Edison School. The reason I mention both of those is the Madison Elementary used to be Shane Halls, and that still is the location. It just has a new name, as well as the Keys Grace Academy was the Edison School, and it's the same location, just a new name, and I want to make you aware of that. That information is also on our website. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you have any questions about the ballot or getting a ballot, please call our office at 248-583-0826. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Clark?
Oh, a few things, Mr. Mayor. As far as the senior center, if you want a little exercise, the senior center has 3 treadmills, 2 recumbent bikes, 2 cardio glides, 1 exercise bike, 1 elliptical machine, and 2 new step machines. Now, you can join this and use them. There is a cost of $30 a year, which is very cheap. It's a lot cheaper than going to a fitness center. Bingos every Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. There's going to be a craft show on Thursday, November 19th, from 9 a.m. till noon. Also, I wanted to thank the people that peeled apples and baked them. It was a complete sellout. So I was pretty proud of them that they sold every pie they made. Also, I'll mention again the Veterans Program, November 10th, 2015, at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center. If you want to stay for a free lunch, give them a call at the Senior Center by November 6th. One other thing I mentioned at the last meeting was about rats. This is the time of the year that they're hunting for a cozy place for the winter time. A few facts about rats. They can squeeze through a half-inch hole, climb horizontally and vertical wires, reach vertically 18 inches in length, jump vertically 3 feet, swim up floor drains, swim up sewer lines, swim through a toilet bowl trap. They survive on pet food, survive on animal droppings. They also gnaw through soft metals, wood, electrical wires, and cinder blocks. And the only other thing, I'm happy and thankful that the Senior Center gave me a recognition also for the work with Home Depot and some of the other stuff that was done. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm really going to sleep good tonight. if
Yeah,
you know
that's what
about
I
the
was
rats.
thinking.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes, I would like to thank Councilman Clark, as long as he's talking about it, for his innovation, I think you would call it, in starting the SHARP program here in Madison Heights and getting so many people to volunteer to help those who are not able to do their own home repairs. Well, you've worked very hard on it and very long on that. And you even talked my husband into doing that, so that's good. Very good credit for you. And Bob Gettings, Councilman Gettings, talked about his mom. I would like to acknowledge her birthday today.
Thanks.
And remind everybody what a wonderful lady Evelyn Gettings was. Not only to you as a mom, as a friend to so many, but to our senior center. She was really the first person who directed that senior center. And she was a hard act to follow, but she was a beautiful lady and very inspiring. And I know that we really miss her, and happy birthday, Evelyn.
Thanks, Margie.
You're welcome. I'd also want to announce, last week we were visited, or last council meeting, we were visited by Sander Levin, our congressman in Washington, and he will be here again on Halloween. I don't think that's appropriate, but it's on Saturday, October 31st, beginning at 10 a.m. He will be for a 9th District Democratic Party meeting. And so I'm sure he'll welcome any questions or comments you would like to give to him, and he'll have time to talk to you. The location is the Plumbers Local 98, which is at 555 Horace Brown Drive. So I think if you need to RSVP, you can go online to the District Democratic Party, and there will be a place where you can RSVP for that. So that's on Saturday, October 31st at 10 a.m. I had a young man, I have to call him a young man, because he's one of our biggest supporters for the Heritage Room. His name is Mike Petroshevsky. Maybe you have the privilege of knowing him. But he called me today and said that it's about time that we gave an update on the Heritage Rooms. So I'm going to do that for Mike and for our citizens. The Heritage Rooms are set to open before the end of the year, and we have a tentative date, which will be on the same night as tree lighting. We thought we would do that in conjunction, since you're going to be at City Hall anyways, but that will be finalized tomorrow night. The Heritage Rooms are meeting, the Historical Commission is meeting tomorrow night for their last meeting of the year, and we will definitely secure up the date and let you know when you come and visit. Actually, if you're interested in seeing the Heritage Rooms, we can show them to you at any time. If you just call the library and make an appointment, we will meet you down in the lower level of City Hall and give you our personal tour at this point. If you would like to wait, you can wait for the grand opening, and we'll hope we'll have a special event for everybody to go through. Our commission has been working very hard every Tuesday night to get together and modify everything. We were very pleased that we recovered almost everything from the flood. And we had 10 boxes of files come in at the last moment after we thought we had lost them all. So those are taking time because we're refiling everything and giving it a new division in our filing cabinets. We really have done wonders, and the city has been very cooperative in modifying those rooms and getting them all looking very nice. And we've had a lot of cooperation from the renovation company too, who contributed a lot to the schoolroom, gave us a wooden floor and wainscoting to make it look authentic. So I hope you'll all come by when we announce that grand opening. And last but not least, the trivia questions for last week. Question 17, what Madison Heights pioneer family settled here in 1867 and donated a portion of their farmland in 1926 for a one-room schoolhouse that stood in our city until it was torn down, regretfully, in 2005? And the answer to that question is D, Kendall. And as I mentioned, that one of the descendants of the Kendall family came here and visited us this last summer, and she was just delighted to see that we still have the Kendall name on that classroom that we're going to be renovating. And then we also had another question, number 18. What local lumber company opened here in 1939, advertised materials for backyard chicken coops, which were very legal at the time, and had the unofficial slogan of, if we don't have it, you don't need it? And the answer was B, John R. Lumber Company. I think we all knew the answer to that one. And that was Don and Phil Katz. And I think I made a mistake. I think it was Don and Will Katz.
Will,
And I said Phil, and I meant to say Will at the last
No,
meeting.
Don and Will.
But
yeah.
they were brothers that started that company and kept it going all that time, and then their descendants took over, Bruce, I know, and so they were a wonderful business to deal with, and one of our longest time businesses. We do have a new trivia question for this coming week, and it is number 19. What address and/or location is the oldest home to remain standing today in Madison Heights? And you'll be surprised when you hear, because it's older than the actual state of Michigan when we incorporated it. Your choices are A, 1186 East 12 Mile Road between DeQuinder and John R. B, 28960 John R. Road on the corner of 12 Mile and John R. Or is it C, 1560 East 13 Mile Road just west of DeQuinder? Or is it D, 950 East Lincoln Avenue at the intersection of Wolverine? If you see those on the website, you can actually drive to those locations because they're still standing, and maybe you can figure out, if you don't know the answer already, which one it is. But that answer will be displayed next week.
Good.
That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Soldes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to thank our employees and everybody involved ratifying these contracts. It's a difficult time, but I'm very proud. I think we're all very proud of our employees. I mean, I consider them a constituent, just like residents in our city. And I'm glad to see that we were able to agree on a fair contract. To echo off of Councilman Bliss's about families, I want to talk real quick about that earned income tax credit that we passed a resolution not too long ago in opposition of our state legislators that trying to eliminate it. I did find some interesting data from the Brookings Institute, which compiled numbers of the entire U.S. zip codes, which clearly shows how critical this program is, not to the U.S., just the United States, but citizens in Madison Heights specifically. For example, the data that I found on there for the number of EITC filers with no qualifying children, probably about 969, that averaged about $283. One qualifying child, just over 1,000, and they qualified, received, averaged 2,276. Two qualifying children, there were about 702 that filed in Madison Heights in 2013, and they received, they averaged about $3,700. And then three or more qualifying children in 2013 was 339, and they averaged about just a little over $4,000. So it also talked about the adjusted gross income of those who filed, the ones that I just mentioned. It's interesting that ones who filed under $5,000 were about 340 people, residents in Madison Heights. And then those who filed had less than $10,000, 628. Those with $15,000 or less, 700. And it goes on, but you get the picture. The most was under 20,000 with 373, and it just kind of staggers, and nobody filed for EITC that made over 45,000. So that's a lot of people. Seniors, kids, working families in the middle struggling with economic inequality right here in our own backyard. In 2013, to give you a little background, the EITC nationwide lifted about 6.2 million people out of poverty, including 3.2 million children. The credit also reduced the severity of poverty, which meant they were still in poverty, another 21.6 million, including almost 8 million children. So I know this is why I keep harboring on this point, but I think that's why I feel so strongly that we can play such a bigger role to help this disadvantaged, especially seniors and children in our community. It's okay to speak out against Lansing or Washington when it comes to our citizens in Madison Heights. We see by the data that there's close to a little over 3,000 that filed for the EITC that are pretty much making not enough to live on, especially with children. So I think, I firmly believe that it's our moral responsibility as a community, as individuals, to keep doing what we're doing. So thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just echo the sentiments of the council here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Does anybody in the audience have any questions, young ladies? Do you have a question? Huh? Are you here for a class? Yeah. Well, ask us a question. Come on.
Anything at all.
Yeah.
Winter at the.
Come up here.
fifth
Yeah.
grade, you know.
You're here, yeah.
So extra credit.
Yeah.
Don't know what to ask. So about the election that's coming up, who's on the poll? Because I've never really heard about the election.
I can't understand you. Go ahead.
Who's on the poll for the election, and what's the election supposed to be for?
So the election's going to be for 3 council members and the mayor.
Okay.
So out of 7 people, it's going to be for 4.
Right.
Are you old enough to vote?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just turned 15 in September.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
If there is, anytime you call us.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
what is your name?
Emily,
And where do you go to school?
Royal Oak High School.
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for being
Thank you,
here.
Emily.
Anybody else, please? What's his name? Jim. Good evening.
Hi, Jim Capizzo,
Speak up a little bit, Jim, if you don't mind.
863 Vinoy. So they want to widen I-75 to 4 lanes, or 5 lanes, or?
5.
Yeah, Your Honor, they're going to add 1 lane for high occupancy vehicle traffic.
Wait, high occupancy? So like nobody be using it?
No, it's an HOV lane. It would be an HOV lane during daylight hours, peak travel hours, and then off hours, it would be open for all traffic.
When did MDOT start wanting to charge the cities along the I-75?
We've been in discussion with them in earnest over the past 2 years. When they first came and told us that the project was being accelerated and that there would be a local contribution. That was approximately 2 years ago or so. Prior to that, the project goes back, at least as far as the city's involvement, to the early 2000s during the phases to do environmental studies, impact analysis. So it was working up to that point, but we really didn't know until roughly 2 years ago what the scope of the numbers were going to be, and very recently what our actual estimate is.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Anybody else? Anybody in the back? No questions? Sir, how about you? Any question? Uh-huh. Okay. All right, with that, thanks everybody for being here, and we now will adjourn. Thank you.